today we're going to be analyzing ROM's 50.8 4x4 solve. It looks like he's going to do white and yellow centers just based on, I can see that here there's two really nice bars on white and yellow, so I assume he's going to go for that. So he does a U2 immediately. So he does yellow by pairing up these two right here. And then it looks like he cancels into solving that last bar. It's really good that he's able to predict the first center as well as half of your other center. In my opinion, that's something that's really important to becoming sub 50 and even sub 40. But apart from that, he does two rotations to find his next bar to finish up the white center. He had something like this where he had yellow at the bottom and he had a white bar here and last white bar in the back. In this situation, what I would do is instead of rotating twice, I know it seems really intuitive, but you also, when you're solving your first center and half of the other center, you want to sort of predict what's going to happen next by seeing where like the last bar is. Rotating up like this, doing an X prime rotation, doing a U2, and then inserting the bar is going to be really convenient. Then you can start going into your first three edges. Okay, now I'm sort of confused because I'm pretty sure you're a white cross solver. Normally you want the white center on your left. Some people do it on the right, and it looks like you're solving the cross pieces with the centers at the top and the bottom. What you want to get used to is solving your cross pieces at the layers where the centers are on the right and left of you. I'll just show some examples of how you would pair it up. Instead of bringing pieces in like you would normally insert it and then pairing them up like that, what you could do instead is do it from the side. It saves you some moves also and saves you rotations. Let's do the white and blue here. We move the white here, this piece, and then we can move this piece here like this. So then we can just move this piece in here. We must know the correct color orientation, so I know red is going to be here, green, and then orange will be right here. Now the next one I'll do is these two, the green white. So this, I'll move it here. I'll move that last green one in the back, and so now I can pair it up. And then coincidentally it pairs this up. Insert it into the bottom, and now we can go straight into your next four centers. But anyway, it looks like you pair it up into on the side like that. I think you did a flipping algorithm right there. So for example, you had a case like this. Even if you do solve your cross edges like this with the top and the bottom, something you could do instead of doing a flipping algorithm, which is 7 moves, you could do an L2 like this. As long as you have a slot empty here, you could do an L2. Since you have more freedom, then do a U2, wide U2. Then it pairs it up right here. 1, 2 moves. Anyway, you insert that first piece in, and now you're transitioning onto first 4 centers. Pretty solid there, really fast, and I like how you put the red into the back, and now you know that the center at the top has to be green. So you form an L shape, not too bad. Okay, that's pretty nice. You just insert it. I would just match up like 2 pieces at a time and then solve them together. For this red center, for example, we have a bar here and then we have 2 pieces here. Instead of putting this piece in and then solving the rest to make it an L-shaped case, I would make it a bar here by just matching them up like this and then inserting them into the bottom. And then that's just a really simple case with the bars solved already. Let's say I had this case at the end. I was just solving my last 2 centers and I had these two. I would solve blue at the top and I have my cross pieces here. So I'd solve it like this. But before doing my last move, I would just rotate because now I have the slice open and it's going to be easier for me to solve my last cross piece. Instead of going like this, pairing them up and then taking them out like that, I could take this edge out, take it out, and then put it in the back like that, and then pair it up, and then put it into your cross. So sometimes there are advantages to leaving the slice open. So this is also another example. We left the slice open. We have this cross piece right here, and then we have the last cross piece here. So now that we know the direction of the slice is going this way, because the blue needs to go right here, we can move this cross piece in like this. And then since it's going that direction, these two will pair up like that. Now you just finish that up and you immediately slice, which is something good. You're ready at 20 seconds, which is pretty solid already. And you're going to do the blue and orange pair next, it looks like. So inserting that, and you're looking for your next one. So what you did was you sliced back and then sliced back again. So you want to leave that slice open. And one thing is to get used to how exactly the pieces are when you slice back, and just sort of predicting. It'll come with time. When you start predicting like when the pieces are gonna be sliced over and they're gonna be solved, it'll be a lot easier instead of slicing back and saving the extra move. You put that edge at the top and you slice, looking into the back quite a bit. Looks like you already had your solved pairs into the back most likely, and they were only on the U face and the R face and in the front, so there was no need to look in the back there, but you just solved that last one. Looks like you're solving them one by one, and here is, I believe, just a flipping algorithm. So this was pretty solid, except that when you sliced back, it was not necessary. I'm pretty sure you were doing it just to confirm that the pieces were gonna line up. Let me just do a quick example of how I would solve all of the edges, in fact. The way I do it is, first I'd see this right here, this orange yellow slice, and I'd see another orange yellow. I would rotate, put it in, because then I know that when I slice back, they're gonna get paired up. This is green orange. I'd put it in right here in that slot, so I'd rotate, insert, then I see the yellow and red, I put it in like that. And then once you have 3 of them in, you know you're done. Then I rotate and then slice all back. Now I have 3 of them, and now I'm at last 5 edges. I see this edge here, then I see this edge also. So I know that when I pair it up, it's gonna be solved, but I'm gonna look for this edge here, the red and green, and then put that piece right here. So once again, when I slice back, it'll be easy for them to pair up. Now I'm just left with a simple 3 cycle, these 3 edges here. Insert this edge like that, and then insert this right here. When these 2 move back, these 2 are going to be paired as well. That's just a quick example, but now onto your last 3x3 stage. I don't think I'll critique much about it. Your 3x3 stage seems pretty solid already. Then here is your OLL parity. I don't use the same alg as you, but it seems fine to you, and it seems like you're used to it already. And here's a nice J-perm at the end. Pretty solid. So one thing I wanted to also note is, I'm not sure if you do this or not, but I just want to put it out there. It is that if you get PLL parity, something like this, for example, you see nothing, doesn't look like a regular PLL case on 3x3, what you want to do is the PLL parity algorithm first, because sometimes it'll lead to that PLL case, the pair here needs to swap with the one here. Start the parity algorithm first, and then you would go into your PLL. Sometimes there are situations where it is best to do the algorithm first. In my case, I just don't want to risk it. I'm kind of too lazy to learn those cases, and I think it's just better as an overall understanding to do PLL parity first. Something like this case, for example, if you did PLL parity right here, it gives you an F perm. But if you did PLL parity right here, it gives you a T perm. Another easy case you can do is for OLL parity. I know you don't use the same algorithm as me, but some tricks like this, if you have this needs to be swapped here, you could hold it into the back and do F sexy F prime, and then you would do your PLL parity alg. So small tricks like that. But now let's just go over your turning real quick before we finish this critique up. Your turning is overall really good. The cube just seems to be a bit locky. You have really good fundamentals and sort of are a beginner to Yao, I would say. One thing is the fluidity of your solves. It needs to be a little bit more optimized because there are quite a lot of pauses, and that's leading to your times being a lot slower, especially during edges. I think you have sometimes a hard time recognizing the colors. Just like F2L, eliminating the back slots, especially with edges, is going to help you see the cube better when you have the edges up here and then here and here. So here's some last things that I would like you to work on for your solves. One is to solve your cross edges on the side, and having them in this M layer is going to allow you to have an easier transition into your next 4 centers. And just playing around with the cube, seeing what works best and finding pieces so they'll pair up in an easier way, because oftentimes you can pair up edges in 3 or 4 moves instead of pairing them up using a flipping algorithm or something of that sort. As for your first 4 centers, they're actually really nice. I like how you execute them. I don't have too much to critique about them. As for your last cross edge, what you can do is leave the slice open like this before you do your last slice for first 4 centers. And now that you have your last cross edge, what you can do is solve it using the slice, taking advantage of it. So we can take this white red piece and put it in right here, and then the last piece is right here, and we can insert it right here. Since we know the slice is going this way, these 2 will pair up. As for your edges here, make sure to learn a 3-2-3. Let's just do one more example real quick. I'd see this edge right here, the orange and blue. I would slice the other piece for it. I know it's in the back here. When I'm doing things like that where I have a case that's sort of rare, what I would just do is sometimes I would go to the next edge. In this scenario, it's actually really simple because this yellow and red, I'd pair up like that, then take it out and then slice back. But still, this is still not slot, so I take it out, rotate, and then put it back in. Now when I slice back, these 2 are going to be solved, and now here's the yellow and blue, and coincidentally, it is going to be solved when I slice back as well. Then we'll put the last one in for the red and blue. Right here, we have a nice 3 cycle, so we're going to insert this. This is paired up. but we need to put this last piece in. Oh, my bad. There's a flipping algorithm at the end. Okay, so that is it for the critique. Thank you so much for submitting yourselves. Just make sure to try to work on the things I taught you, and I could definitely see you in the future, probably in the next month or so. If you really grind 4x4 to get sub 45 at least, I could see you becoming sub 40 in the future. Have an amazing day. Peace out, guys.